My name is Bernard Ernst. I am a resident of Toms River, New Jersey. In 1992, while producing a colossal event at the Park Avenue Armory in Manhattan, I sustained a work-related injury. Residents of a women's homeless shelter in the building set fire to their own garbage at the base of the stairwell. This was a 145-year-old building. I had been charged by the New York City Fire Department to take any necessary measures to protect and evacuate the public until they arrived on the scene. On the night of October 8, 1992, the fire bells went off. Being certified in fire fitness, as was my staff, we took action. I was the closest to the point of the fire, and following protocol, I took the necessary steps to contain the fire, which turned out to be toxic and the chemical equivalent of cyanide. While I was containing the fire, my staff evacuated over 200 people, including the residents of the women's homeless shelter, dignitaries from Italy and the United States, and other guests attending our event. Even though I was trained as to how to react, assess, contain, and evacuate, I was not equipped with breathing apparatus. As a matter of fact, I was wearing a tuxedo at the time. The toxicity of the burning substances and the heat scorched my breathing passages and my lungs. Subsequent medication for the damage to my lungs, including prednisone and other cortisone steroids, caused chemically induced diabetes, which I had to successfully prove in workers' compensation court. The decision in my case, Ernst v. Matrix Exhibits, New York, Inc., later went on to obtain compensable treatment for the first responders injured following the attack of September 11, 2001. Now to the proposed New Jersey Death with Dignity Act, Assembly Bill 3328. As a direct result of my work-related injury, I have the following diseases. All are progressive, most are incurable, most will be fatal, and most are extremely painful 24/7. The diseases include restrictive lung disease, obstructive lung disease, pulmonary fibrosis, diabetes mellitus, diabetic gastric paresis, diabetic neuropathy, diabetic non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, diabetic bladder disease, diabetic retinopathy, and I was recently diagnosed with diabetic heart disease. In addition, I have had 7 strokes directly related to the diabetes, one of which caused hydrocephalus, used to be known as water on the brain. I have had a VP shunt installed in my skull to drain the excess fluid from my skull to my abdomen. I had to have an experimental gastric stimulator installed in my stomach to counteract the diabetic gastric paresis. I am confined to a wheelchair, with the exception of being able to move 39 steps with a walker or stand for approximately 93 seconds. I'm working on improving those numbers. In 1994, appearing before Judge Anthony Minetti in Essex County Workers' Compensation Court, my treating physician at the time, Dr. Robert Margie, testified that he deemed my condition terminal and he gave me 2 years to live. That was back in 1994, yet here I am. I have been zapped back to life twice, and what a life it has been in the interim. In my humble opinion, granted, influenced by my Roman Catholic faith, to permit this Death with Dignity Act by enabling what is nothing more than suicide. Let's call it what it is. It's an oxymoron. My parents brought me into this life by the grace of God. Who am I to cheapen the very essence of life by asking fellow lawmakers and New Jersey voters to become enablers in my suicide? Were that my inclination, which it assuredly is not. John Gunther wrote an inspiring novel in 1949. I read it multiple times. It was entitled Death Be Not Proud. It was later made into a 1975 movie. It was about his son, Johnny Gunther, and the roller coaster battle he had with terminal brain tumor. His son was only a teenager at the time and eventually succumbed to a cerebral hemorrhage at the age of 17. But his son fought the hard fight. In those days, there was no such thing as palliative care, hospice, or modern-day painkillers, nor was there treatment such as cyberknife technology, which is a non-invasive, pinpoint accurate treatment of tumors. I believe in life, from conception, no exception. I bear a heavy cross every day, but I do so willingly. I urge you not to enact a suicide bill, sugar-coated with the phrase, death with dignity. Thank you.